right here, not on the field.
Where we want to be at the end of the season starts with our mentality and our attention to detail today.
When they leave Penn State, a person should be able to look at them and say, that's a guy that went through that program. He's special.
On this episode of the Unrivaled Podcast, we welcome in three individuals who are bonded through adversity, positivity, and brotherhood. Penn State linebacker Tyler Elsdon welcomes two of his best friends to Beaver Stadium this weekend. One that's going to line up across the field, and the other will cheer from the stands. Jake Green, a defensive lineman for Villanova, and Jaden Leiby, a high school teammate of Elsdon and Green, join us ahead of Penn State and Villanova. Jaden Leiby was a former standout quarterback in the state of Pennsylvania before suffering a life-changing neck injury in the third quarter of a high school championship game. Leiby shattered his C7 vertebrae and injured his spinal cord, leaving him paralyzed after tackling the opposing running back. Jaden, Jake, and Tyler have been best friends long before the injury and still remain so to this day, as Saturday will mark a monumental day inside Beaver Stadium. Jaden, before we dive into your story, what makes your relationship with Jake and Tyler so unique?
Oh, geez, where do I start here? Now, they're two of the most hardworking guys I've ever met. I mean, probably two of the slowest guys to get ready in the mornings and, waiting on them and stuff like that. But they're my best friends, and it's like it started like young and in elementary school, but like as we gradually, like as we got older and grew into like our bodies and stuff, like we were always together. We were always hanging out, always at each other's houses, always, like Elston said, always playing football and basketball. Geez, I mean, there's been basketball games where me and Tyler were face to face. It was always me and my one buddy against these two. They were always teammates against us, so they would always rock us, but it was always that competitive attitude that we always had against each other, and I wouldn't trade it for the world,
Jake, going off of that, what's special about Jaden?
Kind of going back to the whole like growing up thing, like my whole life I noticed him become a leader, and the way I started noticing that is by him just kind of getting on everyone's tail, like from youth football to like youth like baseball, like little league, and then seeing that kind of transform into like middle school and then obviously high school when he became a leader since his freshman year. And, just I think that, trait that he acquired is something that like is very like special and definitely unique, and it can't be taught. So, that's definitely like one thing like I've always looked up to him about from when I was a little boy. So, or when we were the same age, I guess. He's only a year older than me. But.
Tyler, how about from your perspective?
I'll kind of add on to that. Jaden was like, we always competed against each other. No matter what we did, whether it's just running, just like football, basketball. I'm awful at basketball, but when it came to against him, he was good. We just compete. And it would, like he said something about like just getting each other's faces and kind of like it would start off as like a fun game, or it'd be like taps or just kind of like pig, whatever it may be. And then next thing you know, like he wants to compete. He wants to be that guy. He wants to be like the alpha male in this situation. He was kind of always like that. So that's one thing, like as a leader in high school football, he was a quarterback. He was that leader for our team. But that definitely is a unique trait of him. No matter what it is, what he's doing, he's always in a leadership role. He always wants to compete, and he always makes people around him better.
A leader both on and off the field by the sounds of it. Jaden, take us back to Friday, October 25th, 2019, the day that your life was changed forever. What do you recall about that day?
Okay, so I'm just going to start out right from the start. We were going in to our 10th game of the year. We were 8-1, and it was the championship for the league. We were playing a team. Their name is Pottsville. I'm sure a lot of people heard of them, but they were not just as good because we ended up beating them, but they were real good. And, we were prepping all week. It was a big thing. It was all in the papers. It was this, it was that. even to that day, we were in school. We had a big pep rally before it, and I remember it like it was yesterday. I was on we had like a football Friday, and it was all over the school, and everyone was like pep rally and stuff, and it was literally like a dream. That whole entire day, it was a dream, and we got to the game. We're playing and stuff. I ended up having like a great first half. I was rushing I had 3 touchdowns rushing, and we were just controlling the game. We were doing so great. Halftime came along, and we were ready. Like we came out, and one thing that stuck to me and I will never forget it, was the lights before we were walking out, and I remember looking at the lights, and I was just like, whoa, that's awesome. And then in the third quarter, I remember I messed it up. Not I messed it up, but like we were on defense, and it was 3rd and 1, and like at like their 20, and they completed a slant on it was my receiver. Yeah, shit, but they drove down the field. After they drove down the field, I was covering. I was playing defensive back, covering a receiver. He ran me off, and I turned. And when I turned, I saw that it was like a little dump off. I came up to make the hit, and when I hit him, my head was down, and his knee was coming up. And then I ended up, I was on the ground, and I couldn't feel my legs, or I couldn't feel like my chest or anything like that. And it was a very freaky moment. But to that day is like when I really started to realize what life's all about and what it could be, like in the blink of an eye, boom, that could be it. But ever since then, these guys here, these guys have been my rock, it was from like we said, it was playing basketball, competing, tackling each other in the snow, to these guys carrying me around, put me in their car, driving me up the mountain, put me on their back, taking me here, taking me on the beach. We went to the cabin. It was just, it's more than it's family, it's more than just friends. We're all best friends, but they're my family.
No, absolutely. That day, personally, like he said, it was a sellout game. I believe it was the last Schuylkill League championship because they ended up changing the schedules the following year. So it was a big deal. I think it was probably the loudest high school game I was against. And I just remember watching Jaden play. He kind of took over. We ran the option. He'd break out with these long runs. The crowd would go crazy. He's making plays. And he always gave me confidence on the field. So we go back to the third quarter when he makes that tackle. I was on the field with it. It was hard because in the heat of the moment, you got to kind of corral the troops, the other players. We kind of all knew something serious was going on. It was extremely difficult for me. That's my best friend laying on the ground, and you kind of just looking to see if he's moving his legs, moving his arms, and you start to realize that it's a serious injury. And then at that moment, there's a few guys on the field next to me. I saw them starting to break down and cry, and just being a leader, just looking up to Jaden, I knew how he'd want us to react in that moment. I kind of got real close with those guys. I told them hey, this is a part of the game. It's terrible. We don't want this to happen. But Jaden played this game because he was a competitor. He wanted to win. We're going to win this game for him, and then we're going to go to our brother and see how he is after. So they ended up carting him off in the ambulance. And that moment we took the field, I think that next drive, we just came out hair on fire and just balled out. We finished the game really strong. And we heard probably I don't know if it was in the fourth quarter, close to it, we heard the life flight helicopter fly over. I'll never forget that because we're on the field playing, and our quarterback, our best friend, he's in a real sticky situation, a bad situation. So we ended up finishing the game. Our coaches kind of celebrated within us, but it was kind of more so focused on Jaden. It was a huge game. It was a huge win. It was a championship. but the only thing like we really thought about was Jaden. So I remember there's me, Jake, a couple of our friends. We all drove down there to the Lehigh. Was it Lehigh Hospital?
Yeah, Lehigh Valley.
Lehigh Valley. Drove down there as soon as like after the game. I don't even know if I showered. I probably smelled bad. I probably had my eye black on. I remember getting there, and it was hard. I greeted. It would be Jake's mom. It would be Jaden's stepmom. Greeted me, and that's kind of when I knew it was pretty serious. She kind of broke down. I hugged her. We kind of talked a little bit, and she didn't have to say much. It's just at that point it was kind of waiting game. Fast forward a little bit. I don't know how long we were there, maybe an hour or so, 2 hours. Jaden came out, and we're all kind of ran over to him. He was on a table. I don't know if he remembers this. He might have been seduced. I don't know. He might have been on some things, but he put his fist up, and when he saw us, he put his fist up, and he's like, the first thing he asked was like, "Did we beat him?" And of course, we said yes, we beat their ass. But that was like one moment that it just kind of showed, like, even in situations that put yourself in harm's way, like when you really love guys on the field and you spend so much time with people, no matter what happens, you want the people around you to experience like good things. Like he was worried about us winning, like the feeling of winning a championship, the feeling of being Schuylkill League champs. And he's in a hospital, but that's what he's thinking about. He's thinking about everyone else, and he was super selfless all the time. So that's kind of how I remember it. And like he said, we've always been there for him. I mean, he's been there for us in ways that, I can't even explain. He's been one of my biggest motivators to get to where I am now, and then to continue like day in, day out, just to give it my all, just one day at a time, one play at a time, because he really showed that you never know when your last play is coming.
Jaden, in the third quarter when you were hit and you couldn't feel your legs, couldn't feel your chest, in that moment, what thoughts were running through your head?
I mean, the first instant, I was like, oh, my life's over. That's exactly what I thought. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, can't get up. I don't know, like, what. But then, like, as everyone started crowding over me, and I was like, it almost, like, hit me like a slap in the face. Like, I was like, dang, I can't just, like, crawl up and, like, just let this, like, take me down. And, ever since then, we got to like we got to the hospital and stuff, and I went into the the CAT scan. And after the CAT scan, I asked the guy if like he thought I was ever going to walk and stuff like that. And he told me no. And I told him that it was bullshit. And ever since then, I've been, on the quest. I've been on the grind to try and walk, and I'm doing my best every day. And, like Adam Talafaro, he was just up at Penn State. I'm sure you saw him up there, but he's like one of my biggest motivators too, because he was like one of the first people to actually reach out. And I went to rehab because of him, and he's been a huge help. But
mention the stuff that other people told you that you couldn't do that you're doing right now too. Because
yeah, a lot of
that's a really important piece that like a lot of people need to know, and that shouldn't go, or that shouldn't be overlooked, because that's something that's like, that was definitely like, I don't mean to interrupt you, but like that's something that's definitely been like a huge asset to your recovery, I feel like. And that's definitely like it's huge for you, for everyone, for us. And we love seeing you like make progress every single day. And it's just it's amazing, man. So continue.
No, but that was after I went to I think I spent like 17 days in the ICU. I was in pretty rough shape. These guys coming, I think there was 2 games after I was in the hospital for 2 games, and that they played, and I had like my little iPad. I was watching them and stuff as I could and cheering them on, and they'd come see me right after the game, and worry about how I was doing. And that was it just like sums it all up. It's just, we're still together. We're still here. And I'm really thankful for these guys.
Jaden, you mentioned your relationship with Adam Telefero, and the two of you suffered very similar injuries and have been able to form a bond because of that. What makes your relationship with Adam different?
I mean, I think there's a lot of spinal cord injuries on the planet, and I mean, God bless every single one of them. But I think Adam and I had like the almost like exact same, and I think that's why we are the way we are with each other. And like I look up to him so much, and like we were just, because it's crazy to like explain, but like I feel what he felt and what he still feels. And I'll feel that for the rest of my life, I bet. And like, that's just like some kind of thing that me and him can like bond over. I mean, and we bond over football, we bond over everything else, but that's like just how I feel like our attitudes are very much the same too, towards everything. And like our bond is very unique. Speaking of the devil though.
What's going on, man?
How you doing, buddy?
Nah, man, it's just so good to see you this weekend, and Tyler and Jake and Mitch, man. It's just an honor to be with you, man. As Jaden said, man, I just see so much of myself in you, and I just think, man, like think back to your injury, like you've already overcome. Like I think about like you've already gotten past that injury, which is like amazing, man. I tell people all the time, man, you're the most inspirational dude I know. And even in times when I get down, man, I think back to you, and you push me to get through the struggles that I have on a day-to-day basis. So man, we're connected for life, man. It's just it's just so good to see you, man. And I'm always here with you. And I know you got your brothers here. Tyler's here, man. It's a team, man. We got your back. You know that.
Yes, sir. No, I appreciate that so much. Appreciate you three so much. Just being in my life, and you three have guided me so much, and I can't even explain. Like in measures. It's crazy.
Like Adam said, we're a team. I really feel that way. I don't know Adam as well as you do, but I was telling Mitch before, when I was coming to Penn State, I wore number 40 in high school. And I kind of put a few numbers down on paper, and I didn't realize Adam wore number 43. And that's a number I ended up getting. I think it was just what a crazy coincidence that my best friend and Adam kind of went through a similar injury, suffered the same things, and like you guys said, have a unique bond and something that many people don't understand. Like we'll never understand what you guys go through on a day-to-day basis, but to get 43 and then kind of have that connection between you three is super special to me. And every time I put that jersey on, every time I see the number 43, I think of both of you guys. So I'm super glad to have met you, Adam, and talked with you, and I'm super glad, Jaden, that you're my best friend. And even though this injury was a terrible injury, there's so much good that came out of it. I think it could be hard for people to say that. I think it's definitely hard for you guys to say that, but I think at the end of the day, you guys understand that there's so much positives, no matter like where your life goes and what happens in your life, there's always positives out of it. And you guys have definitely been a positive influence and motivator for me. And like I was saying before, day in, day out, I think of you guys every day, and you guys always push me. So I couldn't be more blessed to have both of you guys in my life.
Appreciate that, bro.
Yeah, man.
You couldn't have done any better. I mean, Adam, the stuff that you've done for us already, just knowing you for such a short amount of time it's incredible, and the impact that you have on our brother's life is just it's insane, and our whole family's life is insane, and we'll forever be thankful for that, and we appreciate everything you do.
Nah, man, Jake, Tyler, and I tell people all the time, man, when I was going through my injury, I had so many people pulling for me, man. Like I felt it this weekend when I was up there, and Jaden is going to do that for the next person. And that's what it's all about, man, just continuing to pass it down, because unfortunately these injuries are going to continue to happen, but it takes people. I tell people all the time, there's no way I would have gotten through my injury. There's no way Jaden would have gotten through his injury without people. And it's just a special bond, man. That's why I'm so thankful for you guys, man. And Tyler, man, that 43, man, it's just so ironic, man. When I see you wearing it, it's like a sense of pride. And, I'm always looking for you. I'm so happy to see you before the game for a little bit. And awesome. It's awesome, man. You guys are all you guys, man, are awesome. And And it's going to be a fun ride, man. It's going to be a fun ride.
For sure.
Adam, how has Jaden pushed you to be the best version of yourself during times of difficulty?
The biggest thing is, whenever we talk, it's just like, hey, man, how you feeling? How you doing? And every time I ask Jaden that, he's like, I'm doing good, man. Like, I'm like, I've never heard Jaden be down. I never heard a negative thing. And there's so many times, like I said, I wake up in the morning, my muscles are tight. I'm struggling to walk some days, and I'm like, man, like, Jaden is like the most positive dude ever. And it's like, man, I try to live like him. And it makes me better. I say I'm a better person for knowing Jaden, man, because he knows what it's like to go through this. And he's like we're in a fraternity together. No one wants to be in this fraternity of having a spinal cord injury, but we're in it, man. And it's just to have someone there that understands you is hard to put into words. So he's done so much for me. I always say, and Tyler and Jacob said this a little bit, like, going through the injury sucks, but the life lessons that I learned going through the injury and the people that I've met have been priceless. And I look at it every day. Like, football I loved it, but it was taken away. And if I would have kept playing, I would never had the opportunity to meet Jaden, to meet Tyler, to meet Jake. So it's been a weird blessing in disguise, but I'm thankful for it.
Yeah, and even like just hearing that from Adam, like, it makes me feel so good. You know what I mean? Because Adam is just like the man. Everyone. It's Adam Telefaro. It's everyone looks up to him, and he could say all he wants about how I inspire him, but he's my inspiration, man. I mean, he's like, I don't know if I'll be able to make it out to the 50. I don't know. I mean, I might have to, use my arm on someone. Next thing I know, he's walking his ass out to the 50. I honestly cried, dude. It was amazing, and I was so excited. Like, and it's just like another level of happiness for him. For like even me, even like the future, like that could be my future. That's what I push for every day, for that to be my future. And I want to walk just like Adam. I want to get up and stand up in a picture with me and Adam, and the three of us. You know what I mean? It's goals. It's goals for sure. But like Adam said, it's a blessing. Like that night was, I mean, for sure, probably one of the worst nights of my life, but it created some of the best days and the best nights, that the best people I've met. I've met some insanely nice people.
Jaden, when the day comes and you get to walk out to your own 50-yard line, what will be powerful about that moment?
I can't even express that, honestly. That's going to happen though. I know it, but I can't express like the feeling of like everyone as a community, everyone came together. Even like the team that we were playing and the other towns in our communities and stuff like that, like everyone came together for me. And I'm sure it was even crazier for Adam, but like, it's just crazy how like a rivalry can start. It could end up as everyone together. And like, I couldn't imagine that. And I can't wait for it. Honestly, like I'm going to do it. So
I'll be right there when that moment comes. I know that. Jaden pushes for it every day. I think about it every day. I know we send messages back and forth to each other, and before game days, he always messages us in the group chat and kind of wishes us luck. He's always proud of us and stuff like that, but I'm extremely proud of him. And I know when that day comes, there's going to be an immense amount of proud people. It's going to be a great day.
Jaden, Jake, Tyler, Mitch, thank you so much for having me. And hey, I know we'll be talking again really soon. So I appreciate you guys.
Appreciate you, Adam.
All right, take care, guys.
That was really cool. Appreciate Adam joining us for a couple of minutes and dropping a couple of words of wisdom for Jaden and Tyler and Jake. But guys, let's go back to the moment that the life flight helicopter came in the fourth quarter and you knew it was your best friend, Jaden. Tyler, what was surreal about that moment in time?
It hurt. It was, I remember being just looking up, kind of hearing it, because I don't, like, it's hard to even put into words. It was probably, like you said, it was surreal. There's a lot of emotions going on. You're so involved in the game because that's who you are. You're a football player. There's thousands, 2,000 people in our stadium. People are there to watch the game, and everyone knows what happened. Everybody knows in the back of their mind that Jaden got injured. Everybody knows that's him in the life flight. And I think there was like moments that like Tom almost slowed down, and like the game seemed to slow down just to like focus on him. But the game kept going, and it was almost like motivation in a sense. Like, I know we talked about it tonight, just like Jaden being a motivator now than he was before. But like in that moment, I know he like fueled me just knowing like he gave everything. Like everything. We don't know how bad it's going to be. Like Jaden said, he felt like his life was over. He didn't know it was going to walk in, what was going to happen. And just knowing that in the side of my head and back of my mind is a motivator. So I remember hearing it, being extremely emotional, but just transforming that emotion into playability and just kind of bringing the rest of my teammates closer together.
Jake, when you get to the hospital in Lehigh Valley and your mom, Jaden's stepmom are both breaking down, but somehow Jaden says, "Did you win the game?" What went through your mind in that moment?
Yeah, I was just kind of like, it was such a crazy night because, like I said, or like Tyler said, it was we had no idea like what the heck was going on, because before all this happened, we didn't know anything about a spinal cord injury. None of us did. So this is something so like insanely different that none of us kind of expected. And once we got there, we were kind of just like Tyler and I think we were just sitting across from each other. And I just remember bawling our eyes out. And then when he came out on the table, we all ran up to him to see how he was. Of course, he was smiling. Of course, he was laughing, this and that. But, it's like then when he asked the question of if we won or not, it's like it really like made you think like wow, like this kid had just gone through so much in such a short amount of time, but he's still worried about, if we won the football game. Like that's like in me and Tyler's mind, that was, probably the least of our worries at that point.
Yeah.
And to Jaden, that was in the front of his mind. You know what I mean? Like he was in a crazy, he might've been in a crazy state of mind there. They had him drugged up probably on the, all that stuff. But the fact that, he genuinely cared about what we did out on that football field after he was flown to Lehigh Valley was something that, I'll never forget, and I'll never forget about his character, to live on forever, you know what I mean? So
yeah, super selfless. And I said that earlier in the night, but that moment, I was like, this guy really cares about the guys around him, cares about his friends, his teammates. Like Jake said, we all said, he was in a bad state. He was injured, but he still cared about us. He was not worried about himself, and I'll always remember that. I think that just shows like how much we all love each other, how much like our team loved each other, and the bonds that we created throughout that season. But yeah, I'll never forget that.
Jake, why do you guys love each other?
Going back to what Tyler said at the beginning of all this, it started in elementary school when, all of us started competing against each other and, started to learn off each other pretty much and, kind of make each other like our why, you know what I mean? Like when I say like why, like my why, like, I'd have to say it's these guys every day. And because I think about these guys every day and they're literally what drives me, to try and be the best version of myself every single day. And I actually, like, not too long ago, I sat down and I was just I was thinking about it like really hard one night, and I'm like, wow, like this wasn't just like it didn't just take, like Jaden didn't just start, Jaden and Elsdon didn't start motivating me like throughout high school and like beginning of college and throughout Jaden's injury, all this and that. And I realized, one day, like it started when we were little, and that's how, I think that the chemistry formed was just trying to be better than one another and trying to, push each other to be the best. And it was kind of like a blessing in disguise almost. Like we just didn't even realize it as kids, but it's something that I'm so thankful for, and I'm so blessed to have these guys in my life, and I know like that's how it started. I know, like with my heart, I know, because if I didn't have that type of relationship with either of these guys growing up, I don't know who I would be today. I don't know where the heck I would be today. You know what I mean? So that's definitely how I think, we grew so close, and how the love, kind of made us come together, and how the chemistry formed.
Like he said, I think it was the chemistry started when we were super young. He said we didn't really know, and we didn't. We just competed against each other. We'd go out to recess, kind of play against each other, and I don't even think I saw him throughout the school day. Jake specifically, I think we just go out there, kind of eye each other up and be like, let's go. We're going to compete. And I think just like having that early on, and then Jaden came into my life around 5th, 6th grade, just the competition, constant competition, and just wanting to be better than the other guy, kind of like create this chemistry and this bond that you can't just like make artificial.
It's unbreakable. You literally can't. It's so you can't comprehend like how. I mean, I can't comprehend how strong this is, and like what that did for all of us. And you could definitely say the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it builds more and more every day. We had a strong chemistry before Jaden got hurt, and I think we've gotten 10 times closer since he got hurt, because we got to do things that other friends don't have to do with each other. Jaden knows like better than anyone. Like he there's just certain things like we'd have to carry him into places, help him. Maybe put his shoes on, put him in the car, things that maybe he thought were impossible. Maybe he thought like, yeah, I can't go to the beach again. Maybe can't go to the cabin again. But like us three and another one of our buddies who we're super close with just came together and got super close because we're not changing because of an injury. Jaden's not changing because of an injury. He's the same guy. We're the same friends, and we're going to use this to get closer. And we started sacrificing what I thought was a sacrificing maybe more time to Jaden, sacrificing, I don't know, maybe some energy to help Jaden out and stuff like that. Honestly, wasn't a sacrifice at all, because everything I put into Jaden, put in our friendship, only like got us so much closer. I learned so much more about myself. I learned so much more about Jaden, about Jake. There's so much good that came out of it. I can't look at anything as a sacrifice when it comes to us, because the benefits are just through the roof. I think like now, I'm thinking about Saturday. Jaden's a Penn State fan. Jake's family's Penn State fan. Jake has an opportunity. We haven't played against each other since elementary school.
6th grade. Yeah.
Think about that. It's been a long time since we played against each other. So it's going to be special for us. I know Jaden wishes he'd be on the field, because Jaden and Jake played against me when I was younger. I was the guy that was by myself.
Yeah,
so
Tell him what happened. Tell him what happened.
You guys might have won every time, but
no. We whooped up on you. Tell him.
Smacked him around a little.
Yeah, that's how it goes. But I know Jaden would love to be out there, and I know Jake's extremely excited. I'm excited. Because honestly, that's how our friendship started, just competing against each other, and it's just going to go right back to the roots. So Saturday is going to be really special for us. It's going to be really special for our families and our community. So I'm really looking forward to Saturday. I'm excited for you guys to experience it too.
Jaden, when that ball is kicked inside Beaver Stadium on Saturday at noon, Why is it going to be special to you to watch your two best friends go head to head?
I mean, I've been watching these two work so hard since we were so little. I mean, and I didn't know if I wanted to, pursue football in college, but these two did. And it was just so great to see like all the hard work that they put into it pay off, And I mean, at a big time level, even it's not little D3. I mean, nothing against D3, but it's not like it's the big deal. Like it's going to be on TV. Like these boys are going to be competing against each other hardcore, and two undefeated teams. And I'm real excited to be there. And it's going to be great. I've been thinking about it since like it was on the schedule, and since these two branched off and went to college, and we haven't really been like hanging out and we've been as close like through like the phone and stuff, but you know how it goes when your boys go to college and stuff like that. You kind of get a little distant, but it's going to be great to be all together and see these guys with pads on looking a little scary and stuff. So I'm excited.
It's going to be really good. It's going to be a good day.
Tyler, you mentioned having to help Jaden following his injury with things like getting out of the car, at school, whatever it was. How did the three of you make light of the situation after the fact?
I mean, we've definitely done some things we probably can't talk about on here, but it was honestly like the new challenge almost. We all were going through it together. Jaden more directly, but we kind of all had to work through things for the first time together. I think the cabin trip we took was a big step for Jaden. I think that was one of the first times he kind of went without his parents. Overnight was a big deal. So I think with like doing stuff like that, we're like, yeah, we're gonna have like a bros weekend we haven't had in a while, and we kind of we all packed into a truck, Jake's uncle's farm truck. It was good. You can make anything a good situation if you're like with the right people. So I mean, any situation we're put in, yeah, it was challenging at times, but working through it, you get laughs just working through it. Shit, like there's things like I think I hit Jaden's head off the car door before like getting him out of the car, and like it's just something like you laugh about in the moment because we're going through the same thing. So, I mean, anything like that. I know Jaden like still has this humor, things like that. Like, he's a little more witty, I think. Now, I think he has more time to think about kind of how to get under his skin. But definitely, I mean, everything we do is always a good time for sure.
Jaden, how do you live without regret?
I mean, honestly, like I just kind of wake up every day and just enjoy my life, because like I feel like, I mean, I lived pretty, happy and without regret before, but ever since the injury happened, it's, kind of like turned the tables for me and just made me look at life a little more. And I mean, I'm not saying that everyone needs to get injured to like have a better outlook on life, but it could always be so much worse than what it is. Even in my situation now, that's how I went through like going like when I was in the hospital and in inpatient and then even in outpatient, like I would see people and I'd be like, wow, like it could be worse. Like it could be so much worse, and just keep doing what you're doing, keep focusing on you. And just like staying positive is definitely like my strong step, because why be negative? What are you going to get out of negativity? You're going to get negative outcomes, so just kind of staying positive, stuff like that.
Jaden, you mentioned knowing what life is all about. As we chat ahead of Penn State and Villanova, what is life all about?
Life's all about the memories and just enjoying, and just making the best out of every situation that you're in, I would say. I mean, because you don't know if that situation can be the last year functional in that situation. You don't know what can happen in the next minute. I just feel like that's one thing, like, is to always just look at everything happy. Like, I mean, a lot of things that in this life, in this world now aren't happy, but like you gotta find the happiness and,
Enjoy the moment.
Enjoy it. That's it.
You have to enjoy the moment.
Tyler and Jake, when Saturday happens, how will you guys enjoy the moment with Jaden?
I know personally, I know where he sits. I know where the box is. So I kind of look up there, and I don't know if they ever look at me, but I'll give him a little point and stuff like that. He knows, and I always send him a text. And one thing I always do was on my wrist tape, I kind of put the number 6. That's kind of like my reminder for Jaden. So I know Jaden's just gonna be happy just watching the game. He's gonna be happy watching me on the field, watching Jake on the field. He's gonna take in the moment. And then for me and Jake, we're going to enjoy it a little differently. Hopefully we get to go against each other. We'll see what happens. But it's going to be good. I mean, with competition, there's a lot that comes out of it. So, and then after a game, we're going to be enemies on the field, but after the game, we're going to be best friends again. We're going to talk about it for years. So it's going to be good.
No, I feel the same way. Like Tyler said, the whole wrist tape situation is just – I write all their initials on my wrist tape. I write Tyler's initials. I write Jaden's initials, and I write our other buddy Mike Little, his initials on my wrist. And I always write number 6, all for 6 on my wrist tape. And this game is just like it's a crazy experience because I'm like Tyler said earlier. I'm going to war, not with him, but against him. For such a long time. You know what I mean? It's been such a long time since that happened, and taking the field without these two by my side it's a little different. So, but yeah, it's going to be a great experience for everyone, and I'm super super stoked.
Jaden, as we come full circle and close out this podcast, how can people help? How can people bring awareness to spinal cord injuries?
I mean, just kind of being there. You don't even have to just be there every day, but like I've gotten so many messages. I've gotten so many, letters, stuff like that. I mean, any kind of like support. I feel like any support really like keeps me going, and like it's just like, wow, like they're really thinking about you still, or they're really praying for you still. I hear like a lot of kids are like praying for me and stuff, and it's honestly like puts a smile on my face because like that helps me, like it just helps me want to wake up the next day and get up in my standing frame and work out harder because of those kids praying for me. It's just like that kind of support and that kind of atmosphere that people bring to. I mean, it's a terrible thing that happens, but people can bring so much positivity, and I feel like that's what helps heal.
A story of positivity, humility, and brotherhood. Saturday will no doubt be a special day for Jaden, Jake, and Tyler inside Beaver Stadium. Gentlemen, appreciate the three of you joining us and continued happiness moving forward.
I can't wait to be there, buddy.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot for having us. I appreciate that.
It means a lot, man. Thank you.